Hey everyone, I am here with Scott Sandland. I'm super excited to have him here. We just did a couple really fun episodes of the podcast, which will be dropping soon. So make sure to check those out. Scott is the CEO of, see if I can say this right again, Cyrano.ai, and a
Yeah,
thought
that's
leader
us.
in artificial empathy. His background is in clinical hypnotherapy. He has online software development he does, and it gives him a unique perspective on how to weave emotional intelligence into deep science and technology. He's also the founder and coordinator of HypnoThoughts Live. He started that event, which is the #1 hypnotherapy event in the world. So, and that's actually the weekend of August 15th. You can check that out. It's still live. It's still happening. So it's a big event. If hypnotherapy is something that you're interested in any way, shape, or form, that's the place to be. Scott, what's up, man?
Not much. I'm glad you can hear me. Like you wouldn't believe the amount of construction that's going on right outside that window. I am fortunate that I have a decent microphone because I've got two backhoes and a dump truck right outside my window.
I'm just surprised that the whole time we've recorded, your puppy Kobe has been sleeping on that couch
Yeah.
just like a champ. I mean, my puppy is usually in the room with me when I record, and he has a bed right next to me, and he sleeps most of the time. But every once in a while, he will hear something outside and pop up and let out a bark. If there was a dump truck and things going on out there, he would be going nuts.
Yeah, he's clearly really stressed about those.
Do you give him hypnotherapy?
This dog is the most chill animal on earth. Like apparently, okay, so this kind of dog is apparently it's called a Shiba Inu, and I didn't know what that was. But we went to this and we got a dog, and we got the dog and we brought it back, and I googled what is it, and there's all these websites saying these dogs are like the most aggressive demon dogs ever, and I was like, oh no, I just brought like a wolf into my house, and it was it was a puppy, so I wasn't worried about it that week. But I was like, oh, great, I'm going to bond with this dog, and then it's going to be a monster and eat all my neighbors. And no, he's the nicest, calmest, easiest dog in the world.
He looks like it. How
So he's
old is
cool.
he?
He is 7 years old.
Wow, he still looks like a puppy.
Yeah, and we totally lucked out on this dog.
Well, I could tell he's a good boy because, like I said, I've seen him like pick his head up and just look a couple times. But other than
Yeah.
that, he's been like a statue back there.
No, he's been. I mean, he sits here. So I've been working from home because of COVID, like everybody. And my wife has too. Her office is on the other side of the house, and he's always just in one of our offices, just chilling.
Now, did you grow up with dogs, or is that the first one that you've had?
Yeah, I've grown up with dogs.
Okay.
My uncle actually trained seeing eye dogs for a long
Oh,
time.
wow, that's super cool.
So we always had like he would come to Christmas or Thanksgiving and he'd bring like 4 dogs with him. And like there was one year where he brought, I'm not kidding, it ended up being over 1,000 pounds of dogs.
Wow.
Because he brought 2 mastiffs that were like 240 pounds each, and then a bunch of German Shepherd seeing eye dogs. And so we had like 1,000 pounds of dogs in my parents' house.
That's
And then we
awesome.
ended up we would get rejects from the seeing eye dog school. So they were not making the cut for seeing eye dogs, but they were still great family dogs.
Yeah, poor guys. I mean, I grew up with dogs too. My family's always had dogs, but I will say that getting my own dog a few years back changed everything. I mean, I liked my family dogs, and I would hang out with them, and they would be, because even when I was at the house growing up, I would be doing homework or whatever, and they'd be around.
Yeah,
But getting your own, for whatever reason, getting my own changed me, like, period.
yeah. This is, I mean, one of the reasons he's so relaxed is because he is so overwhelmingly spoiled, and he knows like this breed you're not supposed to let out because they'll run away. Yeah, the front door's open. He doesn't care. He knows he's got it so good. My wife spoils him aggressively. So
Oh yeah, as it should be. My little guy's super
yeah,
spoiled too, but he's like a kid to me. I mean, I don't have any kids yet, so he is like
yeah,
my little
he is.
guy.
See, there he goes. Yeah, he is absolutely a kid. I've got a son who's 4, and the two of them wrestle and play fetch and all that stuff. But yeah, it's great.
So he's even good with kids.
He's great with
That's
kids.
cool.
I mean, 4-year-olds are awful with dogs. 3 and 4-year-olds are pulling on the tail and hitting them and all the stuff that little boys do, and nothing.
That's
Like,
awesome.
yeah.
So let's talk really quickly. HypnoThoughts Live is coming up this year. It's what, the ninth year that you're
Yep.
doing
This is
this?
year number 9.
What's different about year 9 to compared to the rest, other than COVID, which is the obvious?
Yeah, I mean,
But
COVID's a big thing. And the only reason we can exist this year is because we're on year 9, because everything's plug and play. Like, the first few years were exhaustingly hard. I mean, just really, really difficult to put on logistically, just running around with projector screens and not knowing which room needed a projector for their talk and all that. And then really by year 6, 5 or 6, we really hit our stride. And getting through that, like, we own all our own equipment and, like all those things that just make it easy. So we're not spending money to rent projectors from the venue that are like the price of a projector. um, and so doing all that means that there were people we were originally begging to come and they were turning us down, and now they're calling and saying, hey, can I come please present? And that shift was really exciting, and I think our transparency in the event is pretty cool because we walk everyone through everything we're doing, because we're a nonprofit. We're on salary, and we set everything up so we will always make decisions for what's best for the conference, not what's going to make me a couple more bucks. And so we're really transparent about that, and we get way more speaker applications than we could ever fit. We'll have 250 presenters most years. This year it'll be less because of COVID and all the Europeans can't come. But like, we have 250 presenters and we have like 400 people apply. Like, it's nuts.
that's amazing. How do you go through all the applications?
It's a giant project. It's Richard Clark and I, my business partner and longtime friend. He and I go through it in a process where, I mean, the first thing is just reducing down, and we've used a couple different strategies over the years. Some of them are math oriented, some of them are reputation oriented, and we explain to everyone which one we're going to do and how we're doing it. And we'll just say, look, we don't know if this is going to be the best way this year, but we just want you all to know the way we're picking presenters this year is we're covering up all the names, and we're not doing it based on names and reputations. We're doing it all based on an algorithm and math in Excel. And some years we say we are not doing that, and we are absolutely doing things based on researching anybody who's new. We try to get 20% of the presenters should be first-time presenters every year is our ballpark goal. And some of them suck, and like, we know it, but we're cool with that. And we feed everybody really good food, and we include the food in the price, and we don't nickel and dime people, and we just give you the opportunity to try stuff. And if a talk sucks, you'll tell us, and there's enough good ones that's okay.
So are there people that have presented every year with you since
Yes,
the beginning?
absolutely have.
That's cool.
And we've got a couple people that are international that we're trying to figure out how to get here, that, their country won't let them come right now. And they're like, I've been there every year. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to ever miss a year. And so we're trying to figure out, we're working really closely with them to try to figure out how to do that.
How many attendees are you expecting this year?
So normally it's 1,000. And my guess is this year is going to be 500 to 600.
How
including presenters.
Are you putting in all the, I'm sure, the precautions for like,
oh yeah,
wear a mask, distancing, all of that stuff?
Yeah, we've been working really closely with the hotel. So masks are going to be required. We're placing all the chairs in all the rooms, and that's where the chairs are going to be. And that's the max number of people that can be in that room. We'll have people with like those room counting things at each door. Normally we do a buffet. We are not doing a buffet this year, but we're still feeding everyone. So all food is contained in boxed lunches. Like, we're doing all sorts of requirements. And we're limiting the max number of people in any given room at any given time. There's a lot that's going to go into it.
That's cool. It's so, like, I know you say it's plug and play, but I'm sure that with these special circumstances, it adds a layer. Yeah. Hopefully next year it'll be back to normal.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we said, I've been making a weekly update since March 12th on how HypnoThoughts Live is going to exist in the world of COVID. And That was like, it was the day before the NBA shut down was the day that I made our first video about coronavirus. And I was like, look, people are canceling their conferences. I don't know if this is a thing yet. I'm going to do my homework, was basically the video. And then the next day the NBA shuts down. I was like, okay, this is serious. And so I started doing videos, and all of April, I was saying, I have no idea if we're going to have our event or not. And I'm not making any decision in April. It's too crazy. And there were definitely weeks in April where I thought we were going to have to cancel. And I mean, most of April, I thought we were going to have to cancel, but that was emotions. And we wanted to get data, and we wanted to make sure we were doing everything based on science, not based on feelings. And so, a lot, and we are saying to a lot of our people, if you're high risk, don't come. Like, we love you. We don't want anyone to be brave at HypnoThoughts Live. We want people to be comfortable and confident.
Are you doing anything online for those people that may not be able to be there?
We just put out, so we did a event in February that was a smaller event, and we just posted those videos and are giving a discount for all those people. We will record all the talks and sell those at a discount this year as well. We don't want to stream because we really want to be an in-person conference. Like, I've run online events before. I've run, a bunch of online hypnosis conferences, actually. So I know what that looks like and how to do it right. And I don't want to slap it on in a way that's not thoughtful. So we're going to keep it all in person this year, but have the recordings as soon as possible.
That's cool. Let's shift gears for just a second, because there's a question before we go that I want to ask you that I've asked other hypnotherapists that I've spoken to, and I like to get this consensus. It's so interesting to me. Are you a fan, and do you regularly practice self-hypnosis?
I used to do it a lot more than I do now. It's interesting. I used to do it a lot, like almost every day, maybe every day, for years. And now I have a 4-year-old. So getting that time doesn't work. But ironically, when my wife and I first started dating, we had a rule that I was not allowed to hypnotize her, and which is fine. But then I hypnotized her for childbirth when we were having our son, and that worked really well. That's great. And then she has recently got into the meditation apps that exist out there, and she loves them. And she's like, this is so great. I had a headache and I went in there and I don't have a headache anymore. I just listened to my iPad for 20 minutes. I was like, yeah, that's my job. Like, yeah, I've known this for quite some time. And she's like, how does that work? And I was like, I seriously know the answer to this really well. Is this a real question? So she's doing it more than I am now.
That's cool. Because it's just so fascinating to me, because the old adage is always, even the best brain surgeon in the world doesn't do surgery on himself. But as a hypnotist, you can practice self-hypnosis, and it's gotten really great results. So I've always been fascinated by that.
I would much rather listen to a recording than do self-hypnosis. Even a recording of myself. Like, there was a time where I would make recordings for myself, like, at my computer, press record, do the whole thing, or even into my phone, and then pop on headphones and listen to it 5 minutes later. I prefer to not drive and be the passenger at the same time. I like to have one role or the other, so I'm not auditing it.
That's cool.
It's great stuff.
Yeah, you can still do it for yourself that way. I mean, I never thought about creating your own recordings for yourself, so that's a new thing for me, and that's super interesting. But yeah, like I said, I've talked to some practice it and some don't with the self-hypnosis thing. And when I first started interviewing hypnotists, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I learned that, and I was like, my mind was blown. I'm like, you can do it to yourself? Like,
it's shockingly effective. Like, it really does work well.
That's cool. And so I'm going to ask this question really quickly because you have Cyrano, you have HypnoThoughts Live, of course. Where do you see this all playing out over the next 2 to 5 years? Like, what's the goal in your mind? I know that we can't attach things, who knows what's going to happen when, but I always like to have a working plan that I'm working towards, and then audit as I go, or adjust as I go.
Yeah. So ultimately what I want to do is use community and technology to help as many people as I possibly can. That's just what my life is about. And so HypnoThoughts Live, all of those things are all about helping empower more people to become better hypnosis educators. Like, giving presenters feedback and talking to them about what they need to do better means that I'm helping them help more people, if that makes sense. So I want to keep doing that. Building out Cyrano is all about, I want to ultimately, maybe on the 2-year timeline, I want to create a free AI therapist and put it on every phone of every teenager in America. Between now and then, I want my software in like teen crisis hotlines, and I want it to be helping those volunteers do a better job in those critical conversations. So I think we've had about a decade's worth of tech innovation in the last year in terms of adoption, especially because of coronavirus. And I don't think that innovation is going to go away, and I don't think that comfort with this tech is going to go away. So I think being ready to lean into that and to use it to help others is a really exciting. Like, as awful and difficult as COVID has been for millions of people, I think historically it's going to be a real opportunity for all of us as people to expand our perspective on how we can help people and what kind of help we all really need. I think that's going to be an interesting thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that idea. I love how you're driven by your bigger mission to give back. And, just along the way, you figure out ways to monetize and to allow you to have the resources to be able to do more and have more choices and be able to do it at a bigger level. So
Yeah.
I love that. I want to give people your websites again. Insights.cyrano.ai is where people can find that. And also Hypno Thoughts Live is the event happening in August of 2020 at the time of this recording. So go check that out and see everything that Scott is up to. Scott, thanks so much, man, for the podcast, for this as well. And let's chat again soon, man.
Of
Definitely let's
course.
keep in touch.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.